So if you cannot connect the person emotionally to those things that have occurred in the past, you don't have a chance at helping them make a decision. Also, you've got to relate what occurred in the past and how they are presently with what the future might hold, or what the future might be like. Also, a critical step often missed. So as you're thinking about this business of creating a dossier, if you will, or a full understanding of this individual, why they're hurting, what it is that brought them there, this moment in time, right? And being able to connect the dots for them, you got to have this data. From Secret Life of the Brain, we are not thinking machines, we're feeling machines that think. One of the more powerful statements that I've read in a while, and I explored some of this information that Restack has put out, and we're talking about high-tech brain analysis when certain questions and things are posed. What is it that motivates people to decide? How do people process information? It's out there. All the ad companies are using it, So critical for us to understand these points. What is the mindset of your new patient? Before they call, for example, before they even pick up the phone, when was the last time one of you picked up the phone to schedule an appointment for anything, health-related, let's say? Perhaps a new dentist, or you're going to see a physician for some reason. Wasn't there a little bit of angst? What if you were in a lot of pain and you're looking for a solution? So try to put yourself in the mind of the patient, In fact, I will tell you that I've had a number of clients do this, where I say, well, they'll complain, for instance, about, these patients, they missed appointment percentage is high, or, this or that. I said, well, you got to maybe identify a little bit more with the people that you're dealing with. So go schedule with a doctor that delivers a similar type of care, or the kind of care that you would offer someone. Schedule and become a new patient. Oh, I get adjusted. That's not what I said. Schedule, call, schedule, get in the book, go in through a report of findings, okay? Decide on what you want to do, find out where you are. If you're a structural rehabilitation practice, CBP doctor, Pedibond doctor, great. Go to a Pedibond doctor. If you're an upper cervical doctor, go through the same level of analysis and decision making and try to become a patient again, okay? And then modify your schedule. Get the kind of care that you're expecting your patients to get. It'll help you to keep the mind of the patient in mind. Patients are suspicious these days. How many of you have had the initial phone call sound something like, well, all right, sounds great, but am I going to have to sign a contract before I get adjusted? What am I going to have to pay? How much do I have to pay up front? Do I have to come to a class before I get any relief? These are the kinds of things, I write them down especially clients, younger clients or clients that are new in practice that kind of come out of the mindset of school, and you're kind of led to believe this, how things are out in the real world. They'll be astounded that someone would call and ask that. But that's what the marketplace has wrought right now with some of the tactics and things that have been taught and implemented. So you have to be mindful of that. They may even be suspicious, okay? If people Google, they get some scary information, don't they? So don't think they're not. They may have Googled to find you. You think they didn't maybe check some other things out too? So be mindful of that. They may have a negative viewpoint. They may be neutral, or they may be really overwhelmingly positive about chiropractic, right? You've got to just understand that these are the kinds of things you're going to be looking for as you dive into this relationship building style of practice. What do we need to accomplish? We certainly need to be organized enough, and we really should role play and drill these things till they become second nature. If you have a team of people in place, or if you're doing it yourself, obviously you're not going to drill with yourself, but you should go through the process of streamlining how you bring people into the practice. You know, this day and age, value is really moving to the forefront, isn't it? People don't have as much discretionary money to spend. So consequently, far more important that we develop these relationships based in value. Well, positive thoughts, positive experiences, positive environment, not fake, real, really rooted, solid, and also expressing you and your place. You know, there can't be a disconnect. It has to be congruent with your brand and who you are and the practice that you have, what you're trying to implement with your vision, okay? But they should be met, escorted, and treated, you know, very warmly, brought back, I think, to a private room. If you're a structural rehabilitation doctor, and the new person that called used to see an activator doctor, for instance, and you're close by, and they're going to sit in your front room while these drop tables are slamming and people are getting their heads yanked back in traction, and right? Think of the experience of the new patient. Try to not be a chiropractor for a minute. Kind of crazy. If you never worked out in a high-end gym, or a serious, Olympic lifting, power lifting kind of gym, and you walk in there and you just want to get in shape, it's pretty intimidating. Or a boxing gym. It's probably a similar experience. Like, I'm thinking I might want to learn how to box a little bit. And you go in and you see, sweat and blood flying and people beating on each other and banging on bags and jumping rope. And it's like, man, maybe I don't want to do this. That's the kind of experience that many patients have if they walk into some of your practices. Others may walk in and not have their expectations even addressed. So they're kind of like, what's going on? And what am I supposed to do next? I had that experience with a really top-notch doctor who many of you know, Dr. Perry Camisa. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying. He has a wonderful practice in Illinois. And the first time I went to his office, I walk in and there's a front desk over here and a front desk over there. I stood there for a while. Nobody said anything. We'll be with you in a minute. Typing. And said, okay, it's been a minute. Oh, why are you here? 4 people sitting behind desk. So we totally changed that, I promise. Now if you go in, there's only one front desk, and when you walk in, they say, hi, welcome to Camisa Chiro. Or actually they say, welcome to Ultimate Chiro Care. The forms that you present, we have to straddle a little bit here. Those of us that really like a lot of data, it's great. But we have to remember the emotional connection and the experience that the person has. So definitely, you've seen some examples of forms. Some people are really interested and think forms are the answer to everything. That's really not the case. It's how they're used. Definitely you have to gather information, but don't overwhelm people, all right? And also, if you have a brand, even if it's not fully developed at this point, and your forms are like copies of copies of copies, and they're crooked, and hi, nice to meet you. Here's a barely readable crooked form with misspellings. Nice. Thought you were state of the art here. That initial paperwork really should be focused then, and should really be able to be completed in a short amount of time. It's really, if they spent 3 hours on it, it wouldn't necessarily give you a lot more information. It's what you do with those clues that's going to make the difference here.